But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say?
If there's one thing politics has taught us, it's that sometimes your so-called friend can roast you harder than your enemies. Gavin Newsom just found that out the hard way, because when even Bill Maher, a guy who used to openly admire him, starts tearing into your leadership, you know your political career is in trouble. And this wasn't some quick jab either. Maher went after Newsom full force, torching his polished image on live TV without hesitation. The worst part? Maher didn't just criticize Newsom's policies. He went after his personality, his ambition, and even boiled down his political legacy to one shallow compliment. Well, at least he looks good.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do
Ouch. Imagine being the governor of the most powerful state in the country, and the best thing people can say about you is that you're attractive. But honestly, doesn't that say it all about Newsom's leadership? California has more wealth, resources, and innovation than almost anywhere else in the world. Yet under his watch, it's become the poster child for everything wrong with progressive politics. Homelessness is out of control. Crime is climbing. Businesses are leaving in droves. Taxes are high enough to make your wallet scream. And instead of fixing any of it, Newsom's big headline achievement is gender-neutral toy aisles. You can't make this stuff up, though. Here's where Bill Maher really landed a punch. He compared being governor of California to being Britney Spears' conservator. Translation.
I don't want to say he really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears.
It's basically a never-ending disaster that nobody wants to take responsibility for. That wasn't just a joke, it was a total takedown. When your leadership of one of the wealthiest states in the world gets compared to managing a celebrity meltdown, you've got problems. And Maher wasn't just being funny. He was pointing out what most Californians already know. Take homelessness. For example, California has practically rolled out the red carpet. Free services, soft laws, little enforcement on street camping. It's an open invitation. And guess what? When you make it easier to live on the streets, more people do. Instead of a tough, practical plan, Newsom's policies turned sidewalks into tent cities and neighborhoods into outdoor shelters. Compassion turned into chaos.
Him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
And crime? Same story. California has turned into a safe haven, not for law-abiding citizens, but for criminals. Break into a store and you might just get a slap on the wrist. Steal thousands of dollars in merchandise and you'll probably be released the same day. That's not justice. That's lawlessness dressed up as progress. While politicians like Newsom pat themselves on the back for compassion, regular people are the ones paying the price. Rising crime, unsafe neighborhoods, and a falling quality of life. But it gets worse. California isn't just losing safety, it's losing people. Big companies, wealthy individuals, and middle-class families are all packing up. And they're not sneaking out quietly. They are running. Elon Musk? Gone. Joe Rogan? Gone. Countless businesses? Gone. Why? Because Newsom's economic policies have made California unlivable for anyone outside the billionaire class. Sky-high taxes, endless red tape, and suffocating living costs have crushed the middle class. California was once the land of opportunity. Now it's a land of escape. The irony is brutal. California should be a model of prosperity. With its wealth, beauty, entertainment industry, and tech innovation, it should be leading the country. Instead, it's a cautionary tale of what happens when smooth speeches replace real leadership. And now Maher, of all people, is saying what millions have been thinking. Gavin Newsom is all style, no substance.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I notice slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
That's the thing about Newsom. His slick, his polished, his charismatic, his basically a walking campaign ad. For a while, that worked. He could charm a crowd, give speeches that sounded Hollywood ready, and dodge tough questions with a smile. But here's the problem. Charm doesn't build affordable housing. Slick talk doesn't lower crime. A nice smile doesn't stop businesses from leaving your state.at some point. Leadership requires more than looking good and talking smoothly. And you know who's starting to realize that? Voters. Not just Republicans. Democrats too. Maher shared a story about being on a progressive, African-American-owned radio show where even the host admitted Newsom was too far left to win a national election. That wasn't coming from conservatives. That was from his own political side.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but now this is a progressive African-American-owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can.
When your own allies start calling you unelectable, you've got a real problem. And Newsom knows it. That's why he keeps trying to position himself as a guy ready to jump in if Biden falters. He wants the presidency, no matter how much he denies it. But let's be honest, if he can't manage California, what makes him think he can manage America? And then there's the woke stuff. This is where he really loses people. Maher mocked California's law that requires toy stores with more than 500 employees to have gender-neutral sections.
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate. And you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
Seriously, this is what the government is focused on while homelessness explodes and crime rises. Kids can't just play with toys anymore. They need to make a political statement while doing it. It's ridiculous. It's tone deaf. And it's exactly why voters roll their eyes at politicians like Newsom. Families are struggling to pay rent. Neighborhoods are battling crime. Small businesses are collapsing under taxes and regulations. And Newsom's big accomplishment? Making sure Barbie and Hot Wheels are sold on the same shelf. That's not leadership. That's pandering to the woke crowd at the expense of real solutions.
Government there.
That's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they were the ones making a case for that. They were making us. They're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
And then there's the water issue. Almost 80% of California's water goes to agriculture, and a huge chunk of that is used for almonds. Do you know how much water it takes to grow a single pound of almonds? Over 1,900 gallons.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
Because
that was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff. Yeah. And then whenever I read 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds. Right. No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Yet ordinary Californians are constantly told to ration water like it's the end of the world. Shorter showers, brown lawns, strict water limits, while corporate farms use billions of gallons to grow nuts. It's insanity. And when pressed, Newsom has no real answer. Just another polished speech about modernizing storage and climate challenges. Translation: more slick words, zero accountability.
a boatload of
I'm
almonds
well
here.
aware.
You know what? You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man. take on Big Almond.
Take on Big Almond.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No.
But
you're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of.
That's the real theme here. Newsom is a master of sounding busy while doing very little. He knows all the buzzwords. He can deliver speeches that feel like progress is happening. But look around California. Do you see progress, or do you see decline? Words don't fix broken systems. Action does. And action is exactly what Newsom has failed to deliver. And here's the scary part. Some people want him to be president. Think about that. The man who turned California into a cautionary tale wants to take his policies nationwide. If California is a blueprint, America better get ready. Because it's not a blueprint for success. It's a blueprint for decline.
This. What? See, I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay, but here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. There's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but...
Under Newsom, California isn't leading the way. It's serving as a warning of what happens when slick speeches, woke politics, and empty promises run the show. And if America puts him in the White House, we won't just get California's problems. We'll get them on a national scale. Bill Maher summed it up perfectly. Newsom is slick, he's a great communicator. But underneath it all, there's nothing there. Just illusion, just performance, just words. And in a time when Americans need real solutions, that's not leadership. That's a disaster in designer suits. So here's a bottom line. If even Bill Maher, one of his old cheerleaders, is calling him out, maybe the rest of America should wake up too. California isn't thriving, it's falling apart. And Gavin Newsom's leadership is a huge reason why. Do we really want to risk that on the national stage? What do you think? Is Gavin Newsom the future of the Democratic Party, or just another slick-talking politician with great hair and zero results? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more no-nonsense breakdowns. You're not going to want to miss what's next.